You are now listening to Creative Hora. Welcome to Creative Hora. I'm Mary.
And I'm Dalia.
And we're super excited to be back for another episode between two friends. Just to kick us off, friend, I know we always start these episodes with just a quick friend vibe check of the present. So, how have you been doing today or lately?
Brian, I always appreciate the question. It's such a great way to get grounded and, just really be present with you in the moment. In terms of how I'm feeling today, I'm feeling very hopeful. And I say that because there's a lot going on collectively that I feel very overwhelmed about. But I feel so grateful and really, really thankful about the developments in my personal life, specifically just around the way that I'm feeling with myself. And so, I feel very hopeful. And I'm hopeful that in feeling centered and feeling myself filled with all this self-love, that I'm feeling today, that it could trickle down into some of the other areas collectively that I feel worried about, that I'm scared about. So I'm really holding on to that feeling of just feeling hopeful.
No, I love that, friend, and that hope is key and is needed. I just listened to a podcast in terms of I think when this journey to self-awareness, self-healing, it's so easy to get bogged down of like all the different tools that you acquire in your journey or in the healing. But one thing that resonated and why I say like hope is like being hopeful is so important, because the person, I forget, he's not a therapist, but he's like a really huge wellness person. Like he mentioned how hope is like the key to just keep going, even if the things don't, even all like the tools you're using is not perfect, or sometimes you're just like, shit, I'm doing everything. He said like that hope is key to keep to just being in continuous motion. So I love that for you.
Oh, I love that, friend. That is, very true. I always see hope really tied to my spirituality as well, and that feeling of trust in the universe and trust in my path. And so when I feel that alignment internally, it just really, really keeps up that feeling of faith in myself. And so, thank you for sharing that. But friend, I would love to hear about how you are doing as well.
Yeah, no, I think right before we hit record, I did mention I was hungry, but that could mean like, yes, I'm like physically hungry because I haven't eaten much all day. But I do want to allude to I'm also hungry for just containing and maintaining, like being present with what's going on, like hunger for just remaining present, hungry for also just being in tune with my emotions as I navigate what's going on in the bigger world out there, with a lot of different uncertainties and just moving parts of the world, but also with the things that's going on in my personal life. So just hungry to be like really grounded and present as I navigate the different motions, and again in the bigger world as a collective, but also the motion that's going on within my personal life, and lots of great motion, but also lots of just like preparing and lots of being intentionally present. So that hunger on all different ways, whether it's
Yes.
physical hunger, but also hunger to just be ongoingly present and not lose kind of like myself throughout the process. So I would say that.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you're, hungry to be present and really seeking, being really aware of your surroundings, aware of yourself and your place in your surroundings. And I think that's incredibly beautiful, incredibly more challenging with, you know, everything that's happening in the world, in our country. But, just an incredible, incredible feat to even be aware that that's something that you want to do, that,
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
present, still soak up knowledge, still be aware what's happening. And of course, if
Yeah.
you need time to step back, even our audience, like
Mhm.
that's always welcome.
Mhm.
But yeah, thank you for sharing that, friend.
No, and thank you for, yeah, the space and allowing my hunger to just be
Yeah,
expressed.
yeah. If you hear Mary's stomach rumbling, now you know she's hungry for everything.
No, that's so funny. But yeah, I think we've been trying this new thing. Again, I think it's a fun way to continue to get to know each other in a different level. I feel like knowing you for almost a decade, maybe a decade plus now.
Yeah.
This card of the day or based on the different themes of colors is still something fun that we're continually exploring and learning about each other. So, friend, do you want to choose a color for the card? Again, I'll say it really quickly what the colors are. But gray is dreams, yellow are life lessons, green is exposed, blue is courage, orange is beliefs, and
Mm.
a dark blue is self awareness.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna choose courage. This morning I had
Courage.
a really
Okay.
beautiful meditation around inner authority, and courage is one of the words
Ooh.
that came up. So I'm curious
Oh,
to
there
see
you
what the
go.
question will be.
Okay. Let me pull a card. Okay. So the card with the question under the theme of courage is, who is the strongest person you know and how do you wish you were more like them?
Wow.
What the
What
fuck?
a loaded question.
I know. Right, right.
Yeah.
Also, let me know if you want another card. Oh,
Yeah.
we
This
can
is
edit, but
yeah, this is a tough question because there's so many people that come to mind that I think are
mhm.
incredibly
Mhm.
strong, incredibly courageous. So narrowing down to one person, I'm gonna have to say my older sister. Her
Mm.
name is Lucy, and I say that she is one of the most courageous and strongest people in my life.
Mhm.
Older siblings, they know, they relate in terms of just the challenges of being an older sibling. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I think also just seeing her development into motherhood and seeing the
Mhm.
way that she has evolved and grown has been so incredibly powerful and beautiful. Um, since so my niece is 5 years old now, and one of the things that my sister and I really connected on, as she was she's been raising my niece, is she's trying to find her own identity in being a mother as well, and really working to understand her faith, her spirituality, and it's been really beautiful to see that growth in her, and
Mhm.
seeing the ways that she is liberating herself and feeling more free than ever as a mother than she ever was before. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, it's really beautiful. Some of the things that I would love to embody from my older sibling are one thing specifically, and it's the aspect of no longer meeting people with the same energy that they're throwing at you.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of the times when someone comes at you, with a very, added with an attitude or a tone, sometimes that will trigger me to want to respond with the same energy. But
Right.
my sister, what I've noticed is she no longer really responds to, like, when, like, if my mom or my other sister, my brother-in-law says something, she's no longer responding with that same like energy that they're
Mhm.
giving at her. She's very like neutral, very like she lets it go, and obviously she
Mhm.
still gets upset, but she doesn't
Mhm.
give
Mhm.
people I guess the benefit of getting that reaction out of her, which is some people really poke to try to get that reaction. But yeah, so that's
Mm-hmm.
one person that is incredibly strong. And I just think in seeing her become more tender, more compassionate, more soft, more emotional, just highlights like that strength that I see in her.
Oh,
Especially as she's, you know, moved into motherhood and raising my niece.
no, I love that friend. Shout out to Soft Lucy. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
No, but that's so beautiful to hear. Just one, your experience with your older sibling transforming and evolving into the mother that she is and the sister that she is. So yeah, and it's not easy to transcend to different in quotes labels that you become over time in your life, like being a mother and being an older sibling. So I do think that's a very, yeah, like beautiful way to just honor her and acknowledge her. So shout out to Soft Lucy. Just
Yes, I love that friend. Thank you. But
kidding.
I want to hear about
Yeah.
you, friend. Who is the person in your life that you would say is the strongest and that you would like to embody some qualities from?
Yeah, and this one, like yourself, there's so many people that come to mind. Like immediately when I read the question, I was like, oh, there's easily five, 10 people that I could come up with. Maybe not 10, maybe five, but there's a list. I would say my grandpa. I mean, like, for those of you that don't know, I've have a very sweet spot for like the elderly community because of my relationship with my grandpa over time, growing up with him and my grandma too. Like for the first maybe 6 to 10 years of my life were very
Mm,
instrumental. And now seeing him in his older age and myself in adulthood and the things that he's navigated over time, being an immigrant from the Philippines, migrating to the US, not knowing the English language, still finding community despite not knowing the English
yeah.
language, being able to travel back and forth, across the country to his homeland, back to the US without knowing any English. Could and that's just one example. It seems like a very daunting task for someone, but I think the way he navigates life with so many uncertainties of whether it's language barriers or whether it's community barriers of just being an elderly adult in Los
Mm,
Angeles and
yeah.
right in the smack of LA. I think it's just like so much courage in him to have evolved into like the elder man that he is. And most recently even finding the courage to have love again. Like, yeah, my
Oh, I
grandpa got
love
his
that.
little boo again. um, of course, with like honoring my late grandma who's passed, like in the past. She hasn't been here for the past decade and a half or so,
Mm,
but honoring that relationship and finding the courage to find love again, I think is just something that I want to embody, and it's also his characteristics and qualities of being so fearless, being so unapologetically him, but also being open to just the different experiences that life takes you, whether it's, again, the migrating from his homeland of the Philippines to here, to living in LA, and then to, again, just finding a new renowned love that like, gives him fulfillment, or just like qualities and characteristic that I feel like I want to embody and having and continuously to have that courage and strength to be open, to receive, and to just navigate the ebbs and flow of life and reality. So shout out to my little 88-year-old grandpa in LA in the hood. I'm kidding.
oh, that's so sweet, friend. So sweet. One of the things that you and I chat a lot about is that beautiful relationship we have with your grandpa. And, it's so incredible that he migrated from the Philippines. He built a life in LA, and now he has the opportunity to really see you and your sisters thrive. And he's gone to visit you in DC, like got in on that plane
I
and
know.
5 hour plane and gone to visit you and just really gotten to soak up, the life that you build in DC, in the DC area, and DMV area. And
Mhm.
so it's just so incredibly beautiful to see that full circle, in the ways that you're carrying back and sharing that love with him as he's getting older. But I love
Mhm.
that he found love again. That is
I know.
so freaking beautiful.
Never too
Um,
late.
yeah, it's never too late to find love again.
Yeah, so yeah, he doesn't surprise me at all anymore. I'm like, what else can you do at your tender age? Like, do it all.
You mean his young age, because
I know.
he's doing it all. He's going to do
He
way more.
is. He is. No, but yeah, it's good stuff. So,
Awesome, friend. I'm so thankful that we always get this moment to just check in and hear these responses. Because one of the things that I love about this moment is the opportunity to be connected with you on a
mhm,
weekly basis. And,
mhm,
just when I hear you say, bring up your grandpa, it just makes me so emotional and happy in a really good way, because those are things that
mhm,
I know make you marry. Those are like such pivotal things about who you are. And it's beautiful that we
mhm,
can continue to share that and, see that love within ourselves. Even when I talk about my sister, it's the same thing. So I appreciate the space, friend. But I'm also really excited to transition into a conversation and talk a little bit about something that's a bit more present in our day to day when it comes to creativity and,
mhm,
these life projects that we've been working on and talking about for the last few months here at on the podcast. But friend, with this creative pulse check, I know it's been a while since we talked about your creative projects and what you've been working on. So I'd love to get started, friend, by hearing about how things are going with your creative project, your basketball league. Like, how have
mhm.
things changed since we last chatted about your creative project?
Yeah, so just in terms of who Bez you are, again, Haya is the creative project, the basketball community hub that my partner and I are creating here in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia markets. It's going well. I think last we spoke, I was talking about getting the partnership with our local recreation center. And since then, we've done a lot of work related to marketing and branding and promotional things and the registration for our league has officially launched as of
Ooh.
this Monday on the 13th. So I think our main focus right now, since a lot of the physical coordination of putting a league on is handled by the recreation center, a lot of my partners and I are focused on more so how to really tailor the brand, the community that we want to build,
Mhm,
to have the vibe and feel of us two as partners, but us two as the face of Hoop as You Are. So most recently we've been focused a lot on Instagram marketing and really doubling down and all credit to my partner. Amani has spearheaded the marketing promotion, so I'm not
shout
going
out,
to take any
Amani.
credit for that. But definitely we do a lot of brainstorming, a lot of collaboration on like the color of, for example, of each
Mhm,
Instagram post, the feel of the post, the language of the caption. We do want it to really embody and encompass both our voice. So it's been a real journey. One, combining both of our um, preferences in
mhm,
style and in the music and in each post. And I think it's really having me learn a lot about like my creative process and even like figuring out what's a good post or what does that mean to brand it this way versus this way,
mhm,
even as the fine details as to like the font that we use in the post. um
mhm,
it's so like I never would have thought like the creative process, like I knew it required a lot of specificity and detail orientation and intentionality, but I think it's intentional to an extreme because we want the vibe to feel like us and not just
Yeah.
yeah, not just like another post or another trend that we're following. Um, so I think with again a lot of with the primary focus being on marketing and promotion and recruitment for the league, we're trying different things out. And in sales language, A/B testing and things.
Be
So
testing.
testing out, yeah, learning a lot about like ads and learning about learning a lot about like reconnecting with the people we reached out to in the beginning of our process to make
Mhm.
sure they're in line and they're connected with our progress as well. And just really brainstorming on how else we can get creative with the marketing piece because we do have a goal of recruiting at least 50 to 60 women and queer folks who love to play basketball.
Mhm.
So I do think it feels like a huge feat, but in terms of the creative process, it's I'm learning a lot about the intentionality that goes behind it and just the connections and how important it is to kind of touch base with all the people that has helped us get to
Mhm.
this point of creating the community, creating the brand. But yeah, that's been
Oh my
what's been
gosh,
going on.
Fred. Very exciting updates. Now that there's open enrollment, people can sign up. You really
Yeah,
gonna see the fruits of your labor
I
as
know.
people are, getting engaged with the content and getting engaged with the community. But what I
Mhm.
love about your story, friend, is, how things progressed. You had an idea, you and your partner had a love for basketball, you saw a gap, you went out there, build your pitch, you outreach to the community, you made those partnerships that were necessary to really support your vision and your goals with hoops as you are. And now you've launched. You've made it all the way to the launch phase, and now you're marketing. Now you're recruiting, and then in a couple months you're gonna have a league. All like
Mhm.
season next kicked off. A whole group of women, queer, non-cis men that
Yes,
are
that's
that are
right.
participating. And so I'm I'm so proud of you and Amani, and I'm so I'm so excited for what the league will bring to the community in the DMV area, but also hear about how it continues to evolve. And I'm so curious, friend. You
Mhm.
know, has there been any challenges in co-creating with another person so closely?
Yeah, and I think these are yeah, definitely in short, yes. And I think the
Mhm.
challenges is more so combining um who's the creative owner of what.
Mhm.
Um and I think it's working through like okay, if we do have a misalignment on the font. Again, let's go back to the font. Like who has ultimate ownership of just like this is the font we're going with. So I think that part of that is accepting that this is a creative partnership, this is a
Mhm.
creative or a collaborative effort between my partner and I. And there are some times where I'm like, sure, okay, let's go with that font. But then if I do feel strongly about again like a color or something, I'm
Yeah.
not also afraid to have a little pushback. I'm like, actually no, like I really like that color for this post, and she's open and willing to
Mm.
kind of like have that give and take of okay, you made the last decision the last time, I'll make the last decision next time. And I think it's just a it could be challenging at first because again we're different people, we have different ways of looking at things, but I do feel like we have enough compassion and understanding of each other's differences to come up with a decision that ultimately both of us will support at the end.
Yeah.
And then it's that give and take also. Um, but then aside from again not being able to come up with a consensus with a certain creative decision, I do think creating a whole new brand and a whole new community itself is a challenge and more so of like the time commitment since we do have full-time
Yeah.
roles. Um, but I do think dedicating even a half hour each day and knowing that, hey, we need to make small baby steps and not like look at it as a, oh my gosh, we need to do this recruitment plan
Mhm.
today has helped us. I mean, specifically me, has helped me really make it more like tangible little things I can do. And it's just a reminder of like, oh my God, this is such a fun process, even if there's a huge
Mhm.
time commitment to it. It's definitely like, again, a challenge, but also something that we're learning to balance along the way.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a lot of like you said, give and take, and being able
Mm-hmm.
to really understand, what are some of the areas that, are worth pushing back, and which are some of the areas that it's okay to let go
Right,
and,
right.
compromise. And that's
Mm-hmm.
super,
Mm-hmm.
super important. But, what I really appreciate in that response is, a project can be very overwhelming to your point. Like there's so many things they always have to do, but I love that you and Amani are pacing yourselves and being realistic about, what is possible with being, having a full-time job, having, other creative projects and, a bunch of other stuff to do, still making the time and incremental impact on your project. So I
Yeah, yeah,
appreciate that. 'Cause I know it
yeah.
can be
No,
overwhelming to get started, but breaking it down and,
yes,
it
yes.
definitely, definitely helps.
Definitely, yeah. Infant steps, like baby
Yes,
steps.
yes, yes.
But I want to hear about your creative life project. I know last we talked about you were in this journey of really centering what makes you, what makes Dahlia as you determine this creative life project, this creative pursuit. I know there was mentions of being out there more in the community in terms of
Mhm.
being with the creatives themselves. So would love to hear what else you've discovered about either yourself or your creative life project journey.
Yeah, friend. I really appreciate that check-in for various reasons. One, it does help me like reflect around the past few weeks, but then
Mm-hmm.
also too, it's a nice little accountability check-in, which, just in general, when it comes to goals, it's always nice to have like a friend or a buddy that checks
Mm-hmm.
in. So I do appreciate
Yeah.
that a lot. In terms of where I'm at in my creative life journey, I'll be fully transparent. I have not, been out in the community as much as
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to be out there. What it feels like in tech, we have this whole word called like a sandbox environment, which essentially means it's like when you're in a sandbox environment, you're just testing out everything. You're like you're kind of trying to figure out how things will go into production. You're A/B
Mm-hmm.
testing. You're trying to figure out how it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be set up.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm in my sandbox environment right now. And even like if I were even to put another term on top of that, it would be like I'm still in the sandbox in the playground.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm really focusing on, and what I've been focusing on the last few weeks in the beginning of the year, is just bringing forward learning as play. I love
Yes.
learning new things. I love engaging in like whether it's like a new podcast and then I'll like really
Mm-hmm.
focus on that, or picking up a new book. I just enjoy learning, and so I've been seeing the word play a lot in my day to
Mm-hmm.
day, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's a constant reminder that plays again something that we need to dedicate as a practice to in our day to day. So I've been playing a lot, to be honest. I've
Yeah.
been playing
Yeah.
so freaking much. Yesterday, for example, I popped in the new Bad Bunny album. I was like, I'm practicing my rhythm. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was
I
like
love that.
trying to do some like low key salsa while listening to Bad Bunny, and I did that for like 45 minutes, and time went by
Oh
so
wow.
fast. It was just like literally obviously the like
That's so
same couple
awesome.
songs on repeat. But yeah, it was just, yeah, I'm just trying to play and have fun. So that's one thing
Mm-hmm.
that I've been
Mm-hmm.
focused on. I shared that I'm still focusing on reading, so really making sure to make that a practice as well, making it
Right.
fun. I was really focused on nonfiction last year, but this I went back into my fiction books, my romance novels. Again, I wanted to be playful. I wanted to be fun. So just really, yeah, really focusing on that in terms of my creative life project. And then as part of that, I'm starting to realize that I really value that learning process, and I value
Mhm.
education, and I value the ability to engage in like new hobbies and start from scratch. It like itches my brain and it makes me feel nice.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that my creative life project will have to do something with learning, but learning
Yeah.
as play has really resonated with me in the beginning of the year. So that's something that I've really been reflecting on. And what I love about that is that, I don't have like expectations of where I need to be.
Right, right.
I'm just more so being consistent and making sure that I'm, adding playtime
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
my day to day. And yeah, it could be as simple as just like putting on my rollerblades at my place because it's like wooden floor, and just
Yes.
like skating from rollerblading from place to place. So what my focus has been in terms of my creative life project is, being in the sandbox, having fun. I'm being a bit of a loner on the sandbox, which is not great. I got to invite some people to play. So yeah, I'm hoping that the next time we have that conversation, friend, I'm going to be sharing about all the new playmates that I've made and,
Yeah, yeah.
people that I've invited to the sandbox. Because yeah, I feel like the first few weeks have been, yeah, more so engaging in hobbies that are very singular and,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's a little bit about my focus there. I would say learning in terms of just taking on a project like this. I started feeling really frustrated that I still didn't feel like I had clarity
Mm.
around,
Mhm.
what I want to do, what I want to
Mhm.
focus on. Um, but I think what has become very clear for me, and this is more so learning, is I want to build towards making my own LLC, even if I don't know what the company
Mm.
is.
Mhm.
Um, there's just a lot of I want to be really intentional about that because it's at least I have that perspective in mind that that's something that I
Yes,
want to
yeah.
work towards. I think there's so much I have to offer, and I just need to narrow down what I want
Yeah,
to focus on. But I know that in the next 6 months to a year, I definitely want to have an LC, even if I don't know what the product, what I'm selling, what the service is. It's more so from the perspective of understanding that I know that there is something that I have to share to the world, and I'm like
that's
working towards
exciting.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I love that, friend. And I think when you mentioned play, it resonates with a lot of creatives that we've talked to. I think as creatives and things that I remember from conversation is play is such a important part of the creative process. Some of our people that we've talked to, they go on random nature walks, they do
mm-hmm.
just random playful things to even ignite that creative process for them, whether they're a musician, a writer, um, someone who's creating embroidery. I do think that play and just trying things out and continuing to learn is so important. And I do think reading is something that really sparks that creative, like sparkle or creative mindset as well, because whether you're imagining depending on the storyline and depending on the book, there is a certain sense of imagination and creativity that funnels through reading, and that sparks
Yeah,
that, again, creative outlet. So, and I'm super excited to hear about your plans and your goals of creating this LLC and you providing your services, because I do think I agree. I think you have like a lot of experience and things to offer and services to sell. So why not? Why not do that? So I'm excited to hear more about your
yeah,
progress there, friend.
yeah. I've been doing like some research on it, and you know, just from initial conversations with some folks that have their own LLC. There's just a lot of value in that. Of course, there's like pros and cons, but just in terms of our government and our society, there's a lot of protections on businesses in general, just from that economic perspective. So there's that perspective that I'm thinking about, but then also just from the perspective of ownership and having, something that I'm owning. And so I've always been curious about entrepreneurship, but I've never actually vocalized that as something that I want to pursue. And so I think that's where I'm feeling in those initial stages of thinking about what entrepreneurship is and how I can work towards identifying as an entrepreneur, because I don't identify as an entrepreneur, but I've always been interested in learning more about entrepreneurship.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think there's an entrepreneur inside of everyone, and I do see that in your forefront, especially, again, I think you have a lot to offer, so I'm excited for your journey in uncovering the life of entrepreneurship and uncovering, again, that LLC and offering your wisdom and services to the world. So I'm excited to hear more as we progress towards our creative journeys, friend. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, me too, friend. I'm so excited to hear about, next time we chat, how registration is going, how marketing is going. I want to be caught up, and I'm also excited to share updates because, like I said, what is so incredible about our safe space here is that it provides us an opportunity to, vocalize what we're working towards, but also just some accountability in terms of having that buddy system, which I really appreciate. Like when I came to this call, I was like, oh crap, I have not been out there in the community. But instead of, being really focused on, okay, but what have I been doing? If I haven't been doing that, what have I been doing? And it just helps in terms of, one, a kind reminder, and also two, I still want to work towards that. That's still something that I care about. So now, next time that I chat, how can I actually make the steps to do that? And I'm excited. There is some stuff coming up, and so there will definitely be updates when we chat.
I love that. And yeah, and we can call ourselves accountability buddies or partners or friendship accountability. So I think, it's huge in terms of us progressing towards our creative goals and creative journey. So I do love that we have this platform to hold us and ourselves accountable. And even with our own project here in Creative Hora, I think it's great that we can have this discussion and hold ourselves accountable for the things and that we are doing, and reflecting on the things that also we may not be doing, but are filling it with other actions or items that fills this creative journey that we're on.
Absolutely, friend. Absolutely. And, to our audience, I am so curious. How do you engage in play in your day to day? Is that something that you're exploring? If so, how? And also, if you have a creative project, what are some of the things that you've learned in the past year when it comes to that creative project? We would love to hear about your creative project and how things are going.
Thanks for tuning in. Creative Hora is a podcast production hosted by Dalia Zaragoza and Mary Figueroa. This episode is edited by Abdullah Kawish and is produced by akstudio.global.